Right now at noon, extreme heat across the nation is breaking records and putting lives in danger.
And right here in the 4 states, we are under a heat advisory, so we have an alert day. I'll have the forecast.
And the latest congressional hearing takes a closer look into UFOs as the number of unexplained sightings increase.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The heat wave that's punished the South and Southwest is now spreading throughout the Midwest and is expected to linger for days. This is KOAM News at Noon. I'm Tanya Bach. Topping our first 7 minutes, excessive heat warnings continue over parts of Arizona, Nevada, and Southern California, and heat advisories are scattered across the central U.S., including right here in the 4 states. Now, the heat wave sent temperatures soaring above 100 across much of the South. In Phoenix, the mercury has hit at least 110 degrees every day this month. Maricopa County, which includes Phoenix, has already confirmed 18 heat-related deaths this year and is investigating 69 others. In Florida, Manatee Bay, the water temperature was recorded at 101.1 degrees. If confirmed, that would be a global record high. Well, we expect it to be this hot this time of year. Expected to be hot this time of year, but not quite this hot. Meteorologist Sam Lane joins us with a first look at the forecast.
All right, thank you very much, Tanya. Yeah, it's been excessively hot in the deserts of the Southwest, but of course, a lot of that is because of the heat island effect, and we may talk about that a little bit. But right here in the 4 states, we have plenty of heat to go around for everyone. We also have some thunderstorms, believe it or not, up towards the north, which is a good sign. We need those thunderstorms. You can see as we zoom in a little bit closer right around Mound City, extending up towards Lincoln. That's going to be moving over towards Butler and Rich Hill and Freedom over the next hour or so, giving those people a little bit of drink of water. We have a very high UV index today and 10 on the scale, which is about 10 to 15 minutes before you start to burn. So make sure that you take the precautions of the hat, sunglasses, sunscreen, find some shade, and limit your time outdoors. We also have some gusty winds out there too, so it makes it feel like a blast furnace with winds out of the southwest at 30 miles per hour. Later on tonight, those winds are going to start dying down, and then tomorrow they'll be back, but not as strong as they are today, generally around the 20 mile per hour range. Looking down the lane, we have the heat dome building across our area with increasing humidity, low rain chances, but we do have a chance of some cooler weather late next week, and I'll tell you more about that in just a little bit. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Sam. The Joplin School Board gives the green light to build a crosswalk near the high school. It'll be added to 20th Street adjacent to the school. School officials say the safety of students crossing that street has been a concern for some time.
Of multiple students crossing 20th Street at different locations and the danger that was causing both for traffic that was transferring there, but also as those students were crossing back and forth, maybe not making the best decisions that they could make as they were continuing to travel across.
The project is expected to cost more than $38,000. The district will pay for half, with the city covering the other half. The Labette County Fair is hopping along this week with a rabbit show this morning, along with a goat and sheep show later this afternoon. This is the 112th year for the county fair, and for some of the exhibitors, participating is a family tradition, and for others, they just want to help out.
Started after my sister, because my sister did the fair for a while and I really wanted to help her with it, so I decided to do the fair too, and I really like showing my bunny. Well,
this year's fair kicked off on July 22nd and wraps up this weekend with a livestock auction on Friday and a demolition derby on Saturday. Well, the Hunter Biden plea deal appears to be off. Topping Nation Watch, Hunter Biden arrived at a federal courthouse in Delaware ready to end his 5-year criminal investigation this morning. The president's son was planning to plead guilty to 2 misdemeanor counts of willful failure to pay federal income tax. Now, under a deal, a 3rd charge of possession of a handgun by a drug user would have been dismissed if Hunter Biden remained drug-free and did not commit any additional crimes for 2 years. However, the judge hearing the case raised concerns about the still ongoing investigation. The parties are still discussing next steps to see if an agreement can be salvaged. Unidentified anomalous phenomena, UAPs, or what we know as UFOs, are the topic of discussion on Capitol Hill today. Lawmakers are looking at the implications on national security, public safety, and government transparency. Members of Congress on both sides of the aisle are pressing the Pentagon and other government agencies for answers, and we'll hear testimony from 3 witnesses at the hearing. Lawmakers want to declassify government records related to UFOs. Well, U.S. Marine veteran Trevor Reed is recovering after getting injured while fighting for Ukraine. Reed was released in a prisoner swap last spring after he was held in Russian custody for 3 years. Jared Hill has the latest.
Multiple sources tell CBS News U.S. Marine veteran Trevor Reed is expected to recover 2 weeks after suffering a concussion and lacerations while fighting for Ukraine in the eastern part of that country.
With support of the NGO, Trevor has been evacuated to Germany, where he is receiving medical care.
Reed spent 3 years in a Russian jail after a 2019 arrest for assault on police officers. He returned to the U.S. last year in a prisoner swap for a convicted Russian drug smuggler.
Mr. Reed was not engaged in any activities on behalf of the U.S. government. Choosing to participate in the fighting there has very real risk.
Some U.S. officials worry Reed's actions could complicate efforts to bring home 2 other Americans still being held in Russia, former U.S. Marine Paul Whelan and Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich.
The team is certainly continues to pursue every avenue to bring home Evan, to bring home Paul.
Reed is being treated at a military hospital in Germany, and it's unclear when he'll return home. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Spokesman for Trevor Reed's family says they have politely declined to comment on the situation. 2 sources tell CBS News Reed is scheduled to begin classes at Georgetown University next month. That's a look at today's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Up next on KOAM News at Noon, the sneakers with a suit look is popping up in offices across the country and now even in the halls of Congress. And later, we're making teriyaki chicken thighs in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. Well, as sneakers take over the workplace, the fashion phenomenon is getting powerful backers in Washington. Scott McFarlane, who sports sneakers himself, shows us how a group on Capitol Hill is trying to bridge the political and generational divide through shoes.
It's easy to get swept up in the historic grandeur of Congress, but if you look down, you'll see something entirely untraditional. The buttoned-up world of Capitol Hill is turning to laces.
They got a match.
Florida freshman Congressman Jared Moskowitz is trying to get Congress to catch up with the people it represents by changing part of Washington's centuries-old dress code.
As Congress gets younger, which is happening, you're going to see more and more people wearing sneakers.
Moskowitz calls himself a sneakerhead.
You have a few pairs?
Yes.
How many is a few?
Over 100.
He thinks Congress is holding on to an outdated tradition of wearing uncomfortable shoes while carrying out the people's business.
If you go to corporate America and you go into office buildings, people have already started to abandon, Oxfords.
The floodgates began to break in May when House leaders wore dress sneakers to a meeting between congressional leaders and President Biden in the Oval Office. A room which for generations has strictly been the land of Oxfords and loafers. From the cobblestones of Wall Street to the bright lights of television, for some professional men and women, sneakers aren't just fashionable, they're practical. Robin Gavon is a Pulitzer Prize-winning fashion journalist at The Washington Post.
I think there are some people for whom it is just purely a matter of, hey, these shoes are comfortable and I just want something nice on my feet.
You wear this to work. Somebody from the other party might talk to you about them.
Well, that's the whole idea.
Moskowitz and Oregon Republican Lori Chavez DeRemer have formed a bipartisan congressional sneaker caucus.
Do you find these sneakers start conversations?
They do. And
like real ones?
It starts conversations with staff. It starts conversations with other members. It starts conversations with Capitol Police. It starts conversations with visitors. There's a cultural change happening.
There are some political divides, though, that are so wide, even talk of footwear can't bridge them. And there are still areas of the Capitol, including right off the U.S. House floor, where you are turned away if you show up in sneakers. As fashion changes, there are still some workplaces across America that just cling to tradition. Scott McFarlane, CBS News, the Capitol.
Well, still to come on the KOAM News at Noon, Mr. Food.
Looking to save at the meat counter? If so, we've got one of the best food buys, and we're going to show you how to turn it into a restaurant-worthy dinner.
And we're tracking showers and storms on radar up towards the north, and we're also tracking the heat. And I'll tell you all about that when we come back. Well, we've started off another warm day across the 4 states with temperatures already in the upper 80s across the region, but we have some thunderstorms too. So that's some good news. Let's take a look outside right now at Seneca, Missouri, Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. A little bit of cloudiness out there, helping keeping temperatures down just a little bit. I don't think we're going to make 100 today. I revised the forecast down just a little bit because of the clouds and the moisture that's in the area. Right now on radar, you can see the storms up towards the north, just west of Interstate 49, there near Mound City. We do have a heat advisory in effect for southwestern Missouri, southeast Kansas, northeast Oklahoma. The only county that's not in our heat advisory today is down in northwest Arkansas in Bentonville. Zooming in on those storms up to the north, you can see them stretching from just north of Freedom to Mound City over towards Butler. These have been drifting towards the south and east, so folks in Rich Hill, perhaps Nevada and Fort Scott will get a little bit of shower activity in about another hour or so. Also another shower near Longton, just east of Moline out there in Elk County, and so they're getting a little bit of shower activity as well. Right now temperatures, as I mentioned, are in the lower 90s in many locations. Other areas are in the upper 80s like Monette with 87, 89 in Neosho. Meanwhile, it's 93 in Chanute, 93 in Parsons, and of course 94 in Fort Scott. And when you factor in the dew point, it feels like it's pretty close to 100 across a large part of the area. 99 in Grove is what it feels like, 98 in Veneta as well as Nowata. And tomorrow it's only going to be worse. Later on today, we're going to see temperatures feeling like around 105, 106 in the metro area, warmer up to the north. And then tomorrow it's going to get even more intense with it feeling like 109 in Nevada and Stockton, 107 in Lamar. So it's going to be toasty out there. And as a result, the heat advisory is in effect for a large segment of our area. Rain chances today are going to be less than 20% and then basically getting close to zero as we go through the next 24 hours. Rainfall amounts today are going to be highest up towards the north. If you do get underneath one of those thunderstorms, you might pick up a tenth or two. Ridge of high pressure out to the west is going to continue to build across our area over the next few days, and that means the temperatures are going to be going up, rain chances are going to be going down, and as we head into the weekend, this ridge is going to amplify a little bit, and then as it retreats off towards the west, we're going to see a little bit of change in the forecast. Here's the next 7 days though. It's going to be hot. Alert day today, tomorrow, and Friday, with temperatures over 100 or close to it, and then definitely over 100 next weekend or this coming weekend into early next week, and then 97 on Thursday with a 20% chance of showers, and then cooler, if you call 94 cooler, on Friday of next week. So there is some light at the end of the tunnel. We just have to bear through it to get there.
Yeah, you know, even though we're down in the 90s, you know, at the end of that 10-day, we still have the humidity to deal with.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Especially with the storms. Yeah.
So definitely take it easy out there.
All right, thank you, Sam. Well, stick around. We're making teriyaki chicken thighs after the break. Well, if you're trying to pinch pennies, we've got the perfect option for the dinner table. Now, the only thing this recipe doesn't cut corners on is taste. Howard shows us how to make his teriyaki chicken thighs in the Mr. Food Test kitchen.
You know, when I was at the market the other day, I was reminded how budget-friendly chicken thighs are. So I picked some up so I could share with you a recipe that is one of my favorite dinner time standbys. These are bone-in chicken thighs, and just because they're such a bargain, don't think for a second that they're not tender, flavorful, or meaty. To start, we place our chicken thighs in a plastic storage bag along with some soy sauce, scallions, a bit of lime juice, a couple of tablespoons of brown sugar, a little honey, crushed red pepper, and a bit of garlic. Now we seal this up and into the fridge it goes so all the flavors can marry overnight. Then you can cook them up either on a grill pan or on your outdoor grill. We want to cook them until no pink remains and the skin is caramelized. Serve these up over some rice, or better yet, on a bed of Asian slaw and call the troops to the table. If you like moist, meaty chicken, then this is a must-have. To get the recipe for what we call our teriyaki chicken thighs, all you have to do is visit our website. I'm Howard with Kelly in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a teriyummy way for you to say, ooh, it's so good. Teriyaki.
That does look tasty, and you can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Here's a look at our 4-state market prices.